Africa is not just the world's fastest growing continent, but it is also the only place where more women than males prefer to start their own businesses. Africa is also the best place to get rich right now in the world, as there are millions of untapped opportunities that have already been exploited in the rich European countries. Africa has a young, quickly urbanizing population. The world's 5 fastest growing economies in 2019 were all located in Africa and grew at rates that were more than twice as fast as the global average. Now is the ideal opportunity to make an investment in Africa and become very rich. However, because international investment decisions are frequently painstakingly overstructured, foreign investors have not flocked to the continent as swiftly as anticipated. Investing is very risky. However, risks and profits go hand in hand. High-risk endeavors are typically correlated with larger earnings. There are numerous instances of businesses in Africa reaping significant financial rewards. In 2019, the oil and gas industry alone generated over $31 billion in revenue for Sonatrach, $10.4 billion for MTN Group, and $4.1 billion for Dangote Group. Due to a number of causes, businesses in Europe, North America, Asia, and Latin America have begun investing in Africa in order to support the continent's economic development. But we also realize that a lot of people are not just looking for countries where it's easier to invest, but are also looking for countries that have a low unemployment rate and high wages to compensate the salaried population. So, which nations, therefore, offer the best investment climate in Africa? Based on the Rand Merchant Bank 2021 research, which evaluates the investment prospects of each African country, our video today will present the best African nations in which you can make capital gains on your investments, as well as make a substantial enough salaried income. In other words, these are the best countries to get rich on the continent. If you are not an investor and also want to know how much you can earn as a salary in these countries, hang around as we will be revealing everything you need to know. 17. Tunisia. Close to Europe, the Middle East, and Africa is Tunisia. Tunisia has access to a wide range of markets for businesses that want to expand their operations because of its central Mediterranean location, competitiveness, growth, and favorable treaties with multiple partner nations. Tunisia enjoys special status as a partner of the EU. Another benefit for Tunisia is its location close to Europe. Economically, culturally, and socially, the ties are strong. Benin. Benin can look to the future with confidence thanks to its consistently high rates of economic growth and its extremely promising economic outlook. Benin's manufacturing sector, which contributed less than 15% of the country's GDP during the past 10 years, has seen recent significant growth. As a result of the growth of the construction and agricultural industries, it now accounts for 25% of Benin's GDP. Since 1991, Benin has experienced 4 peaceful electoral transitions, making it one of the most stable democracies in Africa. In the Doing Business Index, Benin is ranked similarly to its West African neighbors. One of the main goals of the Revealing Benin program is to significantly raise Benin's ranking, which has already increased by 4 places over the 2016 and 2017 periods. There are so many significant advancements in the overall structure of Benin's economy that makes it so reliable and trustworthy to believe in an immaculate financial future for the country. The average person in Benin earns around $550 to $5,000 a month. 15. Seychelles. Seychelles' economic prospects have substantially changed during the last 10 years thanks to an IMF initiative. Government initiatives have helped the economy grow by more than 4% during the last 10 years. The administration had prepared plans for greater spending in the energy sector before the outbreak. The economy has enjoyed receiving sizable amounts of foreign direct investment, which is probably going to result in more money being invested in water and sanitation systems. The fishing industry is one of the major investment opportunities that will support the economy in the coming years. All these advancements are bound to foster economic growth and stability. The average salary in Seychelles ranges from $1,000 to $6,000. 14. Nigeria. It is not surprising that Nigeria is regarded as one of the finest places to invest in Africa given that it has the largest economy on the continent. Nigeria, which has a sizable population and economy and is regarded as an emerging market by the World Bank, is frequently referred to as the Giant of Africa. Undoubtedly contributing to the country's economic climate and the rise in investments in the economy, the nation has vast hydrocarbon resources as well as great mining and agricultural potential. Given the shock of the coronavirus and the drop in oil prices, fiscal support is anticipated to rise and remain over the coming years. As a result, the economy is anticipated to expand, albeit slowly and steadily. The average salary in Nigeria ranges from $140 a month to $3,600 a month. 13. Senegal. Mining, building, fishing, and agriculture are the key industries in rural Senegal that support the nation's economy. The main sources of foreign money for Senegal's economy include fish, phosphates, groundnuts, and services. The nation also has one of Africa's most advanced tourist businesses. Similar to almost every other nation on this list, Senegal's significant corruption, together with ineffective justice, cumbersome administrative procedures, and a weak education system, pose major barriers to the country's economic progress. Leaving that aside, the economy should continue to benefit from political stability and a generally better business environment. The average monthly salary in Senegal is around $289, with the higher-paying jobs shelling out an impressive $4,300 a month. 12. Ethiopia. As Ethiopia continues its efforts to liberalize, public investment and consumption are anticipated to remain significant drivers of activity, notably in construction. Over the next few years, emphasis will be placed on initiatives that are anticipated to expand the road and rail networks, create special economic zones, and construct hydroelectric dams, including the Renaissance Dam on the Nile. We can expect that Ethiopia has a bright future ahead, and with that said, the average income in Ethiopia is $776 a month. 11. Algeria. In both regional and international affairs, Algeria has a medium power position in North Africa. It boasts one of the greatest economies on the continent, based mostly on petroleum exports, and the highest human development index of any non-island African nation. Over the past 20 years, Algeria's economic growth has been anchored on the oil industry. The economy has been able to ensure broad-based development, pulling the majority of its population out of poverty, raising literacy rates, and making great strides in the health and education sectors, even though short-term growth is anticipated to slow down. Given the need to structurally move away from the oil sector and focus on other economic sectors, the economy is currently under transition. 10. Tanzania. Over the past few years, Tanzania's development has accelerated significantly. Consistent public investment by the government in vital secondary and tertiary sectors, ranging from the energy industry to developments in the telecommunications and financial industries, is responsible for this growth. The Tanzanian economy moved up from low-income to lower-middle-income status in 2020, according to the World Bank, as its gross national income per capita improved from $1,020 in 2018 to $1,080 in 2019. The Tanzanian economy's largest and expanding sector is the industry and construction. Mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity and natural gas, water supply, and building are all included in this component. The average wage in Tanzania is around $150. 9. Kenya. According to the 2019 census, Kenya had a population of about 47.6 million, making it one of the most populous nations in Africa. Kenya has the biggest economy in Eastern and Central Africa, and Nairobi is a significant regional commercial center. The major industry is agriculture, which includes traditional cash crops like tea and coffee, as well as rapidly expanding exports like fresh flowers. A significant economic driver is the service sector, particularly tourism. According to the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business ranking, Kenya is rated 58th out of 190 nations, with a Human Development Index of 0.601, which is considered medium. With 75% of the workforce employed in the crucial agricultural industry compared to less than 3% in modern nations with a stable food supply, it is one of the least efficient and least developed sectors. Kenya is not one of the least developed nations, yet it is typically categorized as a frontier market or occasionally an emerging market. Fast economic growth will unavoidably result from the Kenyan government's attempts to ensure that the Big Four strategy, which focuses on industrialization, universal health coverage, food security, and affordable housing, is implemented. The average salary in Kenya is $1,234. 8. Ivory Coast. Although it experienced an economic crisis in the 1980s, which contributed to a period of political and social unrest, Ivory Coast was able to become a financial powerhouse in West Africa throughout the 1960s and 1970s through the production of coffee and cocoa. The gross domestic product did not revert to its 1970s high level until sometime around 2014. Ivory Coast had high levels of revenue for its region in 2020 and was the top exporter of cocoa beans worldwide. The Ivorian economy has been primarily market-based in the 21st century, although it still strongly relies on agriculture, with smallholder catch crop production predominating. Construction, agribusiness, and services should continue to be supported by rising private investment. The momentum created by public investment under the 2016-20 National Development Plan will boost private investment. The average salary in Ivory Coast is $277 for a low-income job and above $1,000 for a high-income job. 7. Mauritius. Since gaining its independence from Great Britain in 1968, Mauritius' economy has transformed from one focused primarily on agriculture and low income to one that is highly diversified and built on tourism, textiles, sugar, and financial services. For democracy and for economic and political freedom, Mauritius receives great marks. The Human Development Index only places Mauritius in the extremely high range among African nations. In the African continent, Mauritius is one of the most prosperous and competitive nations. Being a welfare state, the nation offers free universal healthcare, free education through the tertiary level, and free public transportation for young people, the elderly, and people with disabilities. The Global Peace Index named Mauritius the most tranquil African nation in 2019, which makes it very suitable for investing and working. The World Bank estimates that Mauritius' economy will be high income in 2020. Mauritius is ranked 13th globally out of 190 economies in the World Bank's 2020 Ease of Doing Business Index for ease of doing business. It has been predicted that the financial sector in Mauritius will continue to be one of the key drivers of the country's economy in the future, helped by an incredibly favorable tax environment. The average income in Mauritius is about $700. 6. Ghana. The Akan are the largest ethnic group, yet they only make up a plurality in Ghana, a multicultural nation that is home to many different ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups. The nation of West Africa is an averagely resource-rich nation with a wealth of industrial minerals, hydrocarbons, and precious metals. With a hybridized mixed economy and an emerging market, it is an emerging digital economy. Its Ghana Vision 2020 economic strategy has as its goal. According to this plan, Ghana would become the first developed nation in Africa between 2020 and 2029 and a newly industrialized nation between 2030 and 2039. Ghana is categorized as having a middle income level. GDP is made up of services at 50%, manufacturing at 24.1%, extractive industries at 5%, and taxes at 5%. Ghana's economy is a developing digitally based mixed economy hybrid with rising levels of primary production and export of products related to digital technology. Ghana's economy has undergone considerable structural changes in recent years, setting it for strong future growth. This is backed up by both accelerated tertiary sector development and primary sector sectors like oil and gold. Ghana is the best place in West Africa and the sixth best in all of Africa to invest. The average salary in Ghana is around $640. 5. Botswana. Botswana has had one of the highest per capita income growth rates in the world since its independence. Botswana has changed from being one of the world's poorest nations to an upper-middle income nation. GDP per person increased to $18,113 in 2016 from $15,015 in 2016. Despite having an abundance of resources, Botswana was able to reinvest its resource income to create a stable source of future income thanks to strong institutional structures. According to one assessment, it has the fourth highest gross national income in Africa when measured in terms of purchasing power parity, giving it a standard of living comparable to Mexico's. Botswana's economy is mostly open to global investment, but it does reserve some industries for its own people. The privatization of state-owned companies is significantly influenced by increased foreign investment. The governmental processes are open and streamlined, albeit a little slowly, and investment regulations are transparent. Profits and dividends from investments, debt repayment, capital gains, income from intellectual property, royalties, franchise fees, and service fees can all be repatriated without restrictions. Due to its substantial foreign exchange reserves, the nation has fared better than most during the economic storm brought on by the pandemic. Low fiscal dependence on debts has been made possible by the 1994 establishments of the Pula Fund, a sovereign fund that finances a significant portion of the budget deficit. The average income in Botswana is $420. 4. Rwanda. There aren't many natural resources in Rwanda, thus local farmers' subsistence farming accounts for the majority of the country's economic activity. Agriculture made up an estimated 32.5% of GDP in 2014 and employed an estimated 90% of the working population. Simple farming methods are used, along with narrow pieces of land and sloping terrain. Despite Rwanda's abundant ecology, food production frequently cannot keep up with population expansion, necessitating food imports. But things have become better recently thanks to the expansion of agriculture. The service industry in Rwanda consists of banking and finance, wholesale and retail trade, lodging and dining, transportation, storage, communication, insurance, real estate, commercial services, and governmental administration, including education and health. The work Rwanda has done to enhance its business climate continues to pay off for the country, which is currently recognized as the fifth greatest place in Africa to invest. In addition, significant investments made as part of the national strategy for transformation should boost the building and energy industries during the coming several years. The average salary in Rwanda is $150 per month. 3. South Africa. South Africa, which has a high score on the Human Development Index, is a developing nation. The second biggest economy in Africa, the 35th largest in the world, and the third greatest place to invest in Africa, according to the World Bank, it is categorized as a newly industrialized nation. The region is also ranked in the top 10 countries in the world for income disparity. South Africa has a robust manufacturing and retail sector that will continue to supply goods and services to the southern African region's economies. The average income in South Africa is $1,400. 2. Morocco. The rule of supply and demand governs Morocco's economy, which is seen as being reasonably liberal. Agriculture, phosphate minerals, and tourism are the main economic drivers in Morocco. Just over half of the GDP is accounted for by the services sector. The manufacturing, construction, and industrial sectors make up an extra quarter of the economy. The tourist, communications, and textile industries all experienced significant growth. Morocco, however, continues to rely excessively on agriculture, which generates about 14% of the country's GDP, but supports 40 to 45% of the workforce. The average salary in Morocco is $1,800. 1. Egypt. Egypt is the top investment destination in Africa and is a developing nation that ranks 8th on the African Human Development Index. Politically, Egypt is seen as a middle power globally and a regional force in North Africa, the Middle East, and the Muslim world. The second largest economy in Africa, Egypt's economy is diverse. Agriculture, the media, petroleum imports, natural gas, and tourism are Egypt's key economic drivers. Even though the pandemic had a significant negative impact on Egypt's economy, it was one of the first to return to a path of prosperity. This is as a result of the quick actions it took and the fact that it was in a better position at the time of the COVID-19 outbreak. The average income in Egypt ranges from $3,000 per month to $5,000 per month. Egypt is on course to become a world power as it gears up its economy for prominence and domination. What do you guys think about Egypt's situation as well as the other countries on our list today? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and please do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next video.